Welcome, everybody. Tonight, before this meeting, we did have an executive session. The session lasted from approximately 5 o'clock to 6:45, where the team discussed personnel-related issues. We have a call to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Fish.
Here.
Dr. Gatachu.
Here.
Mr. Gordon. Dr. Gursky. Dr. Gursky.
She's muted, but she's logged in. So Jeff and I are working on it.
I'm here, but it's asking me to unmute with *6 every time I want to speak.
Okay. Mr. Huron.
Here.
Mr. Kirsch.
Here.
Mr. Reichert.
Here.
Dr. Yuasa.
Here.
Mrs. Edmonds.
Thank you. So please stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the board will take action to approve meeting minutes from the September 23rd, 2020 board meeting as presented.
Chris, I don't believe your microphone is on.
Pardon?
We can't, your microphone isn't on.
Hello?
There you go. You just have to have it
Sorry.
closer to you.
I can get louder. I have it in me. All right. All right, thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, we'll do that one again. Board will take action to approve meeting minutes from the September 23rd, 2020 board meeting as presented. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Voice vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Okay, thank you. Motion carried. Board administrative announcements. We have a report for the Columbia Montour Area Vocational School. Ricky, please.
Last night, the VOTEC held a steering committee meeting regarding, sorry. Last night, the Columbia Montour VOTEC held a steering committee regarding the condition of the building, the programming, and what needs to be done to bring things up to requirements at this time and to look at future programming. It's the re-beginning of this process, so it's just under discussion with the superintendents at this time.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a note at this juncture that our next scheduled board meeting is November 18th at 7 o'clock. Then for the CSIU, Johannes, Dr. Gatachu.
Because of the meeting we had last week, I was not able to attend.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to report on the negotiation committee. Give me a second. Mr. Bickart, please. Just leave it on that first slide, please. In response to the strike notice presented to the board by the Danville Area Education Association, effective November 2nd, 2020, the Danville Area School District Board of Education is committed to ensuring that the teachers and the board work together to find a common ground, ensure continued education of our district and children. We want to ensure transparency in this process and would like to make a statement. Over the past 18 months, the Danville Board of Directors has negotiated in good faith with the Danville Teachers Union to establish a contract. During this time, as we all have experienced, the COVID pandemic has impacted us and certainly our community in several ways. This situation has culminated in the following impacts. Increased costs to the district for education that was not part of our budget, resulting in over $463,000 reduction in our fund balance, and a projected $413,000 in increased costs associated with cyber charter schools. This culminated in a net impact of $876,000. The board's goal is to maintain 20% of the district net revenue in the fund balance. A projected reduction for 2021 is $1.9 million, which leaves the fund balance at 13%, which is well below the board goals to ensure adequate money exists to protect the taxpayers' interests in an effort to avoid large tax increases. Revenue losses have forced the board to reevaluate what we can provide in a multi-year contract for district teachers. As we continue in uncertain financial times, we are aware that our taxpayers are forced to pay higher healthcare premiums and have incurred a loss in jobs. This board stands behind a fair and equitable option for the district teachers to include a deductible of $250 for a single person and $750 deductible for a family for health insurance. Additionally, the board has offered a raise of 3.0% each year for 3 years. Although we understand the negative impact of a teacher's strike, the board remains committed to doing what is reasonable for the community we serve and continues to protect taxpayers from further financial burden. And lastly, we welcome and encourage community input to this process. Next slide, please. The following information speaks specifically to the contract. Tentative agreements, which are benefits and enhancements, are as follows. Self-directed day. The teachers will have a paid half preparation day prior to the start of school to ready classrooms for students. Time allotted for teacher discretion out of an existing professional development day will be used for this. Personal days. We increase personal days from 2 days to 3 days a year, which is a 50% increase. Number 3, made changes to the bereavement leave. We increased the bereavement leave from 3 days to 5 days and expanded the definition of immediate family members. Also, a second day for non-immediate family if travel is required. It's a 66% increase. Vision plan. We doubled the vision benefits. An example for frames is the program would move from $55 to $110 for frames. Number 5, retirement recognition. We increased the payout upon retirement from $25 a day and a maximum of $6,500 for unused sick days to $60 a day and a maximum of $12,000. Sick leave. We've expanded the language of sick leave family to include a person who resides in the same household or any person with whom the employee has made his or her home. And number 7, department leads. We added department lead language into the agreement and created guidelines for application and interview processes with continued compensation. Next slide, please. This slide reflects the Danville Area School District's October 26, 2020 proposal. For wages, we've offered from the following three wages. From 2019 to 2020, we offered 3%, which was an increase from our prior proposal of 2.75% proposed by the board. Same follows for 2021, 2020 to 2021, and 2021 to 2022. Healthcare. $250 to $750 deductible for the Geisinger Health Plan, which would be effective 7/1/2021. That current plan is currently at 0 deductible. $250 to $750 deductible on the Capital Blue Cross program, effective 1/1/2020 due to sunshine clause considerations. Employee share of premiums, they remain unchanged as reflected here on the slide. Currently at 11%, and we've included that in our proposal.
Chris, just a second.
Yes,
That
I'm
would be, the Capital Blue Cross is effective January 1st of 2021 due to what's called a sunset clause that has
Sunset.
been voted on by the trust.
Yeah, I didn't think it was sunset.
Okay, my apologies.
That's fine.
And our contract term is 3 years. The Board of Directors understand that the uncertainty of COVID on school budgets and the impact of a plus $400,000 deficit in the current year's budget is concerning for both the board and the community. However, given the burden a strike would pose for our families, the board feels it is in the community's best interest to move forward with this agreement. In the interest of the well-being of students, the Board of Directors is hopeful that the DAEA will consider the board's offer of fair compensation and health care and elect to forego a strike to avoid further interruption to our students' education. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Carl Beard, if you'd like to share a few comments.
Thank you, Mr. Urim. You're all aware that we had our health consultant come in and do a presentation last Wednesday. We just want the public to be aware that we did extend an opportunity to the association to have Mr. DeRay present to the teachers through a Zoom meeting. They really didn't have to be here. That request was turned down by the association's UniServe rep, Mr. Mark McDade. The reason and the background behind that offer is because when we were at the bargaining table on our September 30th and October 7th session, when we still maintained, as we did all through negotiations, that we needed, and we had agreed to a $250 Geisinger plan, and I know that's in dispute. We had a PowerPoint presentation on that back in March, but we have been steadfast through that presentation. We were advised by Mr. Fortunato that they could not present anything relative to a $250 GHP deductible because it's too late in the game to educate their staff, their bargaining unit relative to that item. And that is why that offer went out. And when Mr. McDade denied that, declined the offer, he wrote, moreover, we shared with them, meaning the teachers, information regarding plan designs offered by the board, so they're fully aware. And so in less than a 2-week period, they couldn't know anything about it till they're fully informed. We were just a little concerned that that may not be the case. The board has indicated its movement to try to bring this matter to a resolution. I've had over 40 years of negotiations, and I'm somewhat surprised in the midst of COVID that we would have a strike notice. If you turn on the TV in the morning or you turn it on at 6:30 at night, you can see the stock market has dropped 900 points and 800 points in 2 days in a row. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, when you look at all of the economic watches out there in the midst of COVID, you pick up USA Today that's well recognized, or any type of, the Wall Street Journal. They indicate that there are more store closings coming, and they estimate as many as 25,000 stores could shutter in 2020. You've seen the effects locally and the like. And I know that money is out there, but the board just wanted everybody to be aware that the board's offer, as it relates to 3% in year one, is an average increase of $1,935, average increase per teacher. Now, if you're at the top of the scale, that may be different because you've reached the top in a shorter amount of period of time. Year two is approximately $1,994. and in year 3, 2,053 for an average of 1994 over that 3-year period of time. And I realize that people will look at that and they'll say, well, I'm going to have increased healthcare costs. Everybody has increased healthcare costs. And we read in the paper that the association made an offer to increase the deductible. And we think it's important because that happened after Tony DeRay did his presentation. In essence, what they want to do is take the existing $0 deductible and only change the 100 and 300, that there would be no coinsurance or any other changes whatsoever. And according to Mr. DeRay, that would equate to approximately a $20,000 to $25,000 savings to the district. And you say, why is that important? Well, it's important because the projected cost increase for the Geisinger healthcare plan when it's up for renewal is somewhere around 12%. So in essence, that $25,000 worth of savings would be less than 1% savings on the change in the deductible. We stand steadfast to continue to look at this and willing to discuss this even further. But it's important for people to know that it's, a zero deductible plan is virtually non-existent these days. Danville, along with 20 other schools, 21 schools comprise the CS Trust. On October 22nd, 2019, they held a trust meeting. 33 representatives were present. We had all 3 members here from Danville, and they were presented a proposal to eliminate the zero deductible plans, both for the PPO and the Geisinger plan through the trust. And the reason is it was no longer sustainable. It was just basically cost prohibitive. What doesn't make sense is that anybody would agree to having a $250 deductible on a PPO plan through the trust and have a zero deductible plan for the Geisinger plan. Mr. DeRay presented the benefits were matched up side by side. They're both the same. We've been told at the bargaining table that the Geisinger plan with the that we want to present at 250 is really an inferior plan. And anybody that has health care and they have deductibles of $500, $1,500, $1,000, $2,000, $2,000, $4,000, or even $5,000, $10,000 know that really isn't a realistic response. We will continue to look at this. Right before the meeting, we had discussed this in executive session. We are going to extend an offer to the association. I see Mr. Fortunato is present here tonight, to meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock with the state mediator who has been with us throughout the course of the negotiations, starting on September 30th. Once again, we can address this, and we have some plan options that we would like to present to the association. We would like to say that we should continue this discussions. I know that the strike notice is out there, but I think it's important to know that as far as impasse under Act 195 and Act 88 of 1992, there are 3 options for collective bargaining impasse. The first one's fact-finding, where either party can request Pennsylvania Labor Relations Board to issue a fact finder to come in and look at the stuff. They basically put it in a blender, they shake it up, and they make a determination. We basically have 3 issues between us. Unfortunately, that cannot occur because the strike notice is on the table, so they won't allow it. You also need to be aware that if you go to the next step and you have a strike, and you can't get the amount of time in, you end up in what they call non-binding arbitration. In that kind of scenario, the Labor Board, once again, you'll get a list of arbitrators to strike from, but their options are to choose the association's proposal, the district's proposal, or to look what the fact finder had recommended. And once again, we don't have a fact finder available to weigh in. So what we're going to do is ask the association to come to the table once again They've indicated that we haven't responded or engaged with any of their discussions. We've been open and transparent as to what their proposal really means and the impact as it relates to the district possibly absorbing $200,000 a year over the next few years on healthcare if one deductible doesn't change. The reality is there's approximately 50 teachers on the existing PPO plan. The comment that was made at the table by the association is, well, what may happen here is these 50 may all migrate to the Geisinger plan. If we have everybody on the Geisinger plan with a zero deductible, it's anticipated the costs are going to increase $200,000 a year, passing on more cost to the district's operations and possibly to the taxpayers. So we look forward from hearing from Mr. McDade and Mr. Fortunato regarding a meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock with the state mediator, where we will once again come back with another proposal addressing the healthcare option. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Beard. Okay, Dr. Boyle, Superintendent's report, please.
Good evening, everyone. The Danville Area School District enrollment has gone down with the advent of COVID. We are now at 2,186 students enrolled in the district, which includes our Ironman Cyber program and our Bridge program. But unfortunately, with the numbers in homeschooling and outside cybers, it has definitely impacted our bottom line. Also, I want to say congratulations to Pam Burrows and to our food service program. We had a Department of Education administrative review this summer regarding our summer food service program, and there were absolutely no violations found. This group did a phenomenal job, and we really appreciate what they've done. We also want to note that in the case of a strike, the food service departments will be looking to provide lunches and breakfast for students, and our pickup will be at the primary building. Again, more information will come out if necessary. Also, we also want to recognize Alex Findura, who is one of our volunteer coaches for our junior high football team. He has been named to the 2020 All-State AFCA Good Works team for his service to those in need. Some of the things that he does is, of course, work with our students on the junior high team. He has provided service to his country, and he continues to help others in the community. So congratulations to Mr. Findura, and we are grateful to have him working with our boys. That's it.
Thank you. Next order of business is our public comment period. Please recognize that public comments are limited to a 3-minute maximum. And this public comment period is for agenda items only. And for those that are willing to make a comment, please state your name and address before you do so. Thank you. Mr. Fortunato. Good evening. Yes, sir.
Dave Fortunato, DEA President, Williamsport, Pennsylvania is my address. First thing I would like to comment on is I want to be clear that our members have all information. It has been alluded to here and last week that our members don't receive information. They received all the information. They received the health care information, and we answer questions on the health care information. So to allude to that, I think is unfair. I also do not believe we are in an impasse. We are not in an impasse. We may be stalled, moving slowly, but we are not at an impasse. I believe you offered us to meet tomorrow night. Correct. With the mediator? Yes. Okay. We had 2 meetings scheduled, this past Monday and Tuesday. Everybody rearrange your schedule and adjust it for it. We have people on our committee that have children. We have people on our committee who have spouses that work evening shift. They made all those adjustments. We were here Monday with the state appointed mediator to talk as long as we needed to talk. The school board, the committee decided to leave at about 9 o'clock, at which time they canceled the following meeting, Tuesday night. So we are more than happy to meet. And if Vice President Huron or President Edmeans ever want to talk in the day, everybody in this room knows where I work. In fact, I should have given my address as Danville High School because I'm here a lot more than I am at home. So at any point in time, I have always been open to that. I don't know how many, who can be there Wednesday, but I want to make a point that everybody understands here. We adjusted our schedules. We adjusted our schedules to be here Monday and Tuesday. This school board left and canceled Tuesday. Now they're turning around, you're turning around and saying that you suddenly want to meet again out of nowhere without even the courtesy of a phone call, but at your public forum. I am not going to sit here and debate Attorney Beard's comments. I am not going to sit here and bargain in public. That's what you're trying to get us to do. We will be there tomorrow. If it's only me, Carl, I will be there. Is John Healy going to be there? Is that the mediator that's going to attend?
John Healy will be there.
Okay. If nobody else can make it, I will tell you I will be there. And then we will see from where that goes. But if you're going tomorrow, we would appreciate a good faith proposal that we can work with, because we have done everything we can to work with this committee, the school board's committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Anybody online? Sure, we will turn to for the.
Yes, we have a public comment. Mr. Rispaldo, please unmute your mic and state your name and address.
Evan Rispaldo, 41 Ormar Road, Danville, Pennsylvania.
Go
Are you
ahead.
able to? All right, sorry, I didn't know if you could hear me. I have more of an issue on the taxpayer side of this community. I don't believe in any sense of the word that there should be any negotiation possible with this union at this stage, in this specific time during a pandemic. There should be no reason that they should even consider a strike or have a specific reason that they should push for what they want right now. And personally, I see it as, I understand what you were saying in your presentation, and I jotted it down, and I don't believe that any of that should even go into thought during this specific time when 90% of the taxpayers of this district's premiums just went up $160 to $300 on Geisinger Health Plan, including health workers. I'm going to compare this to health workers. People might disagree with that, but healthcare workers alone pay $500 a person and $1,500 per family. Most of those people live in this community and in this district and pay into this school district. I don't know how you think it's acceptable for the taxpayers to want to pay into the teachers to have less of a deductible and pay less into their insurance than the rest of us. I feel like that's a real brick to the face in any negotiation. It's basically, and I understand, like, we don't want a strike to happen and we don't want these kids to suffer, but I feel like this is on the union themselves to make the kids suffer. The worst time on earth. It should never be acceptable to strike 2 months into school with kids struggling to begin with to learn and stay in the classroom without a COVID case happening and shutting it down for a week. I honestly believe that we should just let them strike and let them do their thing, because there's going to be no negotiation pattern that's going to even be acceptable in the community to even let that pass. I don't know what else to say other than that. Like, I just feel it's super super unacceptable that this is even happening right now. And just with the choices going on and what they want, it's honestly unacceptable and infuriating to me. It's not fair. It's really just disgraceful, to be honest with you. This is hurting the students in a very hard time to begin with, where families are struggling. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, I have Miss Vegas. Unmute your mic and state your name and address, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello to everyone, all the school staff, everyone. It's important to discuss about what is going to be the consequences about after the strike. The children's, they're missing class a lot after this pandemic, and doing a strike is going to affect them enormously. And I think I know the teachers are the best teachers qualifying here in Danville Area School. Is no doubt about it, but I think the strike is not the right moment. I think we had to finish this year and keep conversation and set an agreement, and that agreement had to be in equilibrium and has to be realistic. The situation is difficult for everyone. Our children really, they need education. The government is sending extra help. I do know that, and we had to find the balance to not harm our children's education, and try to set an agreement for the teachers. But a strike is not really is the good time. We need our teachers. We need the children to continue with their classes. We had to sit down together and talk about this and resolve the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there others?
Any other public comment, please raise your hand in Zoom. We have another public comment. Go ahead. Go ahead and unmute yourself and state your name. You need to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yes, I'm here now. My name is Jennifer, and I'm from Danville. I was a student in 6th grade here. And I just can't understand.
Last name, please.
McWilliams. How you can put
Excuse
this.
me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we just get your address, please?
East Front Street, Danville. 720 East Front Street, Danville.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. To the man who's negotiating for the raise, I don't see how he can put the school board in a position like this when they're already financially hurting because of this COVID and people leaving the school and of the such. But it's like the people out here, we don't make this kind of money. We get maybe a 1% raise, and still they want us to pay for their raises and their health and all this. But by the time we get our 1% raise or whatever it is, it's very small, because I'm a disabled veteran. I am on Social Security right now, and we don't make this kind of money at all. I think over half of us out here a lot of us out here are not making anywhere near to cover our expenses and to, live the way these teachers do. And I think they can have a raise when our children start getting a better education. These kids out here are getting C's and D's because of this cyber school, not the cyber, but the bridge program, and the grades and attendance markings are terrible because of them not being able to get on because of the internet's down, or sometimes the teachers at the beginning, the teachers were late and the kids are trying to get on, and a lot of kids are frustrated. And I'm frustrated right now that they have the gall to go about asking for a raise and not even being satisfied with what you're going to give them. Do you want anything? Do you have anything to say, Glenn? No. All right. I think that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Are there others?
Anyone else? Please raise your hand. We have Mrs. Lawbaugh. Go ahead and unmute and state your name and address, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Lawbaugh. I live at 764 9th Street in Riverside. And I just wanted to say, first off, I have 2 kids in the district, and I value and appreciate the teachers and administration throughout this whole entire pandemic that we've been going through. I wanted to just, actually, I've been attending the board meetings, but I've really felt like I needed to say something on behalf of our family, on behalf of some of the people in our community, that we value the teachers and administration and making all the decisions that they've been making. It's been challenging. We've all just have to be reminded that we're working together. We're all in this together. It's really important. I was a Danville alum years ago. I moved back to the area for my family to be raised here because I truly appreciate Danville hometown, and the education that was given to me is now being given to my children. And I think it's just really important for all of us to be reminded of, us as adults, we're supposed to be here for the calm and not create the chaos. And that's something that I think is really, really important in our community. And it was very frustrating to hear a possible strike in the midst of a pandemic. Our kids have gone through a lot. Our families have gone through a lot. People are unemployed. They're challenged every day financially. To see that and understand the contracts that have been ongoing for, it sounds like 18 months, I think Mr. Fortunato had mentioned. I feel for the teachers. I appreciate that they continue to teach, but at the same time, I think another parent had mentioned, now is not the time, I don't think, to try to challenge that to the district, back to the parents, back to the taxpayers. I know it doesn't always, and it never seemed like the right time, but I really truly believe right now is the hardest times that we're going through, and we hope that things change for the positive, for the better. But it really just made me feel like I needed to speak out and say something during one of these board meetings finally, because I think we just all need to be that reminder. Yeah, the deductibles, it just is unbelievable that we're able to provide such wonderful benefits to the teachers. But I can tell you, I've been working since 1998 of graduating college, and I've always had a deductible in my plan. And I've had wonderful jobs, but it's something that was always expected in all my jobs. And I've always contributed 25%, not 11%. So it just is amazing that they have wonderful benefits. And do I think they work hard for them? You bet. But it's also at a time to actually challenge them and ask for more is really hard to understand. I thank you for your time. I really appreciate just listening. And I hope everyone stays well and stays healthy.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Any other public comment? Please raise your hand. No more public comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next order of business is a presentation by Dr. Bickhart. It's all yours, Doctor.
All right, good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan, strategic plan for the district. Many of you may ask, on a night such as this, why are we discussing this? Part of this is based off timing. We are responsible for having this into the state by November 30th. It must be posted and board approved in order to present this at the state level by November 30th. So this is the highlights. I'm going to go very briefly over the key points of what our comprehensive plan is and what we're looking at moving forward over the next 3 years. Again, it is posted in detail on the website, including the two other components, which are the induction plan, the professional education plan, again, that we are responsible. So we'll dive in. First thing I'll start with is when you look at this, it references Danville Area School District, a partnership of family, school, and community is committed to the education and growth of the whole individual. That is our mission statement. It is adjusted from previous years. There has been a committee that has been meeting off and on since March. Of course, with the pandemic, it's been a little bit more difficult to do that. But in general, this committee has worked towards, guiding the administration, guiding us, in what our planning will look like for the future. So moving ahead. Looking here, what we came to a conclusion is what is the vision we have? What are the core beliefs of this district from the teachers, from the community, from parents, and from the board as well. So vision being that we're a collaborative learning community where students have the opportunity to reach their individual potential. Our commitment resides in molding a resilient, effective communicator who has the requisite skills to be a successful citizen in an ever-changing society. That leads next into our core beliefs. I will give you a second. I'm not going to sit here, and I know when we're presenting and people just read to you, it can be very redundant. But take a moment. They are the true core beliefs, and I want you to kind of put a mental image in your mind as you read each of those. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to look at each of those.
Dr. Bickhart, could you read it because the board.
Oh, they don't have them. I'm sorry. I thought they had the presentation. I apologize. All right. So they say develop a disciplined and confident lifelong learners who strive to achieve their fullest potential. Develop mindful citizens who value and respect diversity among all people in their communities. Develop compassionate and ethical leaders who can think critically and work collaboratively. Develop individuals with interpersonal skills through verbal and written interactions that culminate with effective interview skills. Develop resilient students who are able to self-regulate, build and maintain healthy relationships, and manage stress effectively, and develop independent individuals who make responsible decisions while embracing their communities. The point I want to make on this slide is, because of many of you sitting in this room, Danville is a phenomenal academic institution. We all realize that there are things that need to be addressed when it comes to developing the whole child. When I ask you to picture that, what I want you to realize is the team that's been working on this looked at it from when a student walks across the stage as a graduate of Danville High School, what do we want from them? Number one being, we do want lifelong learners who achieve academically to their potential. That is our number one goal, but it's not the only goal. And we cannot lose sight of that. That needs to be, if we want to put anything at the forefront of us moving forward as a district, it is everything else that is there to make sure we have students who are ready to live in the world as it is today. What we did is we had to analyze two major things. We had to analyze the district performance profile and what we were seeing from state testing. We had to also look at our details when it comes to what other assessments we do. What do we think our strengths are right now? We know students score above average on AP exams. High school and middle school ELA scores are above the statewide target. High school Liberty Valley math scores are above the target. Middle school and Liberty Valley science scores are above the current target for 2030. Primary school, Liberty Valley middle school attendance rates are high. iReady is a key piece in the elementary levels and in the middle school that is giving us data. It's providing data to us that we can make targeted instruction. And at the elementary level, at the primary level, our DIBELS assessment provides specific early reading skills. We know reading at the early levels is the key to everything. What do the challenges look like? At this time, post-secondary transition, looking at, and again, I think we need to be very clear on this. When we began to look at this data, it is not that our district is very low in anything. We are a high-performing district across the board. There are categories of things that we looked at that we began to connect into what does the future of Danville look like. So we looked at post-secondary tradition is a little bit below the state average. Career readiness offerings and building on that. Always a concern, students with disabilities and those economically disadvantaged scores going down in certain areas. Always in need of curriculum-based measurement, knowing that state testing is not the only, we need additional measurement points that are in the classroom, in the trenches from teachers that are guiding our instruction. A couple other things, when we move down to the elementary level, comprehension, looking at informational text, inside the scoring, on the state testing is a little bit lower. We are learning that modes of writing instruction needs to be increased, looking at various modes of writing, and then student opportunities for related academies and specials, meaning recognizing that core instruction is very important, but specials, art, music, world languages, all of that is just as important. That we go back to those core beliefs, that's what builds a whole child. All right, summary. There's a great need that we need to focus on the social and emotional needs while looking at the various styles of learning. Yes, we want academic rigor. Yes, we want that to be there, but it needs to be prepared with understanding and nurturing of our students. We need to evaluate our assessment practices because we need to improve our instruction. Our curriculum instruction assessment need to drive our daily actions. We must be providing individualized instruction based off of specific needs for students. They deserve that. Each one of us that has a child understands we want the best for our student. And we should consider expanding and updating our course offerings to engage more students, which leads to what are the goals? Written in SMART, the way they ask you to write them when you're looking at from the state level is how do these goals form and what are they in a action-oriented way? And I think number one, and it is put there for a reason, we know that nothing matters unless our kids are taken care of, their social emotional needs. Okay, so with that said, goal one, social emotional learning instruction focusing on the well-being of our students will be embedded in the curriculum at all grade levels in all 4 district buildings by the beginning of the 2022-2023 school year. Yes, teaching this is just as important as teaching math. By the 2022-2023 school year, we want to look at creating career pathways that incorporate characteristics and employment requirements in at least 3 cluster areas and introduce at least 1 additional SIP program at the high school level to enable students to choose courses that lead to their ability to successfully move into post-secondary opportunities. We want students prepared academically to go to college. We also want to do a better job of making sure kids have pathways to move into the career workforce if they so choose. We want to establish, again, by 2022-2023, establish the use of appropriate grade level data points to develop tiered academic intervention activities and strategies and to assess academic growth for each student. The way I word this is academic rigor, academic integrity, all of that are not mutually exclusive from nurturing children. All right, we need to make sure we are still giving every child their ability to grow whatever their level is, and we need to support the educators doing that. Final one, by the beginning of the 22-23 school year, We want to look at revising, implementing effective grading systems, K through 12, specific to each grade level as a means to keep teachers, parents, and students informed concerning their students' academic progress. We need not to get lost in what a grade is or a GPA, and we need to focus on what is its purpose and how are we handling that to, again, nurture and drive both academic success and social success in our students. Within it, you have to create action plans. Some of the things we're going to use, MTSS, which is a very, teacher or academic term, we need to make sure we are using that. That system of support, it's called multi-tiered systems of some support. We need to dive into what social emotional learning competencies are, as well as school-wide positive behavior. Some of these are things we've already been doing that we need to continue as action-oriented professional development pieces. We need to look at career pathways. We've been doing APL, instruction, skills, and management. Of course, with the pandemic, we've had to pause on that because it's an in-person training, but it is another piece of what we want to build inside of our professional development plan. These are actual things we can concretely do. With that said, big thank you. There are teachers, some sitting in this room who have been part of this, board members who have been part of this, the administrative team who has been part of this. It's been a collective process. Again, why now? Has to be posted. We put it on the website October 22nd. It has, by PDE's recommendations or by PDE's regs, it has to be there for 28 days, which gets us to our November 18th board.
Excuse me.
Right, thank you, Dr. Bickert. Next order of business is our consent agenda items. The board will take action to approve consent agenda items. Do I have a motion to approve items 8.1, 12.1 through 12.9, and 13.1 through 13.2?
I'll make that motion.
I second Johannes
you.
Gevacho.
No.
Roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, please, Terry.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Huron,
Yes?
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Is 11.3 included in this?
No.
No.
Okay. Yes.
Dr. Uasa.
Yes.
Thank you. Next order of business is school property and supplies. Yes, okay. Item 7.1, board will take action to approve the payment, application number 2, in the amount of $56,970 to Apollo Group Incorporated for the new maintenance building project as presented. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. I'll second it. Darrell
Thank
Reichert.
you. Terry, roll call, please.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Uasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Item 7.2, board will take action to approve the payment of payment application number 4 in the amount of $16,132.50 to LTS Plumbing and Heating for the new maintenance building. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Thank you. Terry, roll call, please.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Item 7.3, board will take action to approve payment in the amount of $23,895 to Bognet Incorporated for the new maintenance building. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Thank you.
Who second?
Dr. Uwasu. Roll call too, please, Terry.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Riker,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Okay, item 7.4. Board will take action to approve application for payment in the amount of $6,180.46 to O'Neill Excavating for the new maintenance building project as presented. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
My second.
Thank you. Also roll call, please, Terry.
Mr. Riker,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Item 7.5, board will take action to approve the payment in the amount of $149,456.70 to Martin's Construction for the new maintenance building. May I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion. Second.
Thank you. Terry, please.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Riker,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Item 7.6, the board will take action to approve change order in the amount of $1,391, and that's a deduct for the new maintenance building. Do I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve. I'll second. Yuasa.
Second, Caston.
Dr. Uwasu.
Dr. Yuasa. Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Riker,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Okay, 8.1 was covered in our consent. Item 8.2, board will take action to approve the 2020 winter coaching list as presented. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Yuasa.
Thank you. Terry, please.
I'm sorry,
Dr. Uwasu.
and who was first?
Mrs.
Christina.
Fish.
Who was first?
Mrs. Fish.
I'm sorry, it was giving me grief. Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Riker,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Thank you. Item 8.3, board will take action to approve the continuation of extracurricular activities and athletic activities in the event of a Danville Education Association strike. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion. Jen Gursky.
Do I have a
I second.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Riker,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Okay, nothing on item 9 or 10. Under Finance, okay, 11.3. Board will take action to approve the bills for payment for September 18th, 2020 through October 21st, 2020 as presented. And this is bills for payment.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Thank you.
Getachew.
Roll call too, please, Terry.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Abstain.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Abstain.
Mr. Huron,
Yes. Thank you. Item 11.4, board will take action to approve Berkheimer One Source to print and mail our Act 1 applications at a fee of 37 cents per envelope. May I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
I'll second. Mrs. Fish.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Gatachu,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yeah.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichert,
Yes.
Dr. Yuasa,
Yes.
Mr. Huron,
Yes. Then we move on to items, the other items through 13 were part of the consent agenda. Nothing under transportation tonight. Item number 15, board concerns or any board concerns or comments at this time?
I have a comment, Chris.
Yes, sir.
So the last person in public comment said it so well about how teachers are so important to our children and that we totally appreciate this. I'm coming back to that negotiation. So we keep on using the word negotiation and the public might have some idea about how it's gonna go. They might think that it's a genuine back and forth, give and take. This is not the case with us. I do not see any given from the union's president or their negotiating team. And I do not consider this a negotiation. It's more of, I don't know what the right word is to be honest, but maybe of coercion or so. Okay, and it's unfortunate that we had to deal with that. I don't make any difference between me and, by the way, this is my own opinion. This does not represent the board members. And I don't make any difference between myself and the teachers. Some of them are my friends. Some of them are my neighbors. They take care of our children. I go to the table with genuine motive to take care of business, to do the best I can. But at the same time, we have responsibility for public money. And the public money includes the teachers themselves who live in the district. So when we talk about the co-payment and stuff, there was a mention of a phrase that it's an inferior quality. It's all about optics. Today, the temperature right now is, I think, 51, 52 something. Compared to December, this is warm. Compared to August, this is cold. So it depends on the context of what you see. And we have, needless to say that there was a mention that the offer made is the best we can do. When you have a district, more than 70% of our budget goes to salaries. And any movement, a slight movement you make have impact on the whole financial balance. So I don't think this is not, this is an inferior offer. And strike. So the whole idea of a strike is that you strike, you create some pain and discomfort in the public so that the public puts pressure on the board members to do what they are now willing to do. We don't need to go there, not to mention the timing. And it's unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this situation. I don't think we need to strike. You need to strike. I'm talking directly to the teachers. And I don't think we can negotiate. There's enough time to negotiate. I don't know what happened and why the their leader decided to have a strike at this moment, but I think it's totally unfair. Thank you.
Are there any other board comments? Or concerns? I do have one personal comment. I just would like to just clear the air from my view. And with all due respect to Mr. Fortunato and his team, I don't think it's a fair representation to the folks that are putting the time and effort to try to work through these challenges to say that the board team walked out on any negotiation. That's absolutely unfair. We did not walk out on any negotiation. At some point in time, after many hours, and discussions kind of get to a point where we're not making progress, I think the logical thing is to say we're at an impasse. And to step back, regroup, take a look at the facts, and figure out the next course of action to move forward. So when I hear this, the board walked out, I was there. We did not walk out. I think that's important for the community to know. This board remains strong that we want this resolved. We don't want this strike. Okay? So I'd just like to get that out in the public forum. Thank you. Okay, the next order of business tonight is the second public comment period. Again, same situation, maximum of 3 minutes, and name and address, please, if you'd like to make a public comment.
Mr. Huron, it's Jen Gursky. I didn't get a chance to unmute my mic. May I make a personal comment before we go into public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jen, I didn't hear you clearly. Okay, go ahead.
On a personal note and not that reflected by the board, I would like to say that I genuinely value the work that the teachers do every day with our children. This pandemic has presented numerous challenges, many of which none of us could anticipate. I also want to mention that I stand behind the taxpayers in this community who elected me to this position. I do believe there is a path forward, and we are committed to that, and personally, I'm committed to that as well. Thank you.
Jen, it was very hard to understand you. Do you want to try again, please?
Can you hear me now, Ricky?
We can hear you. It's the clarity that was an issue.
Is it clear now?
Yes, better.
I would like to say on a personal note to this community that, and to the teachers, that I value the hard work that is behind the scenes every day from the administration and from the teachers. Their commitment to our children is outstanding, and I support what you are doing in the classroom every day. This pandemic has presented challenges that I don't know that anyone could anticipate. As a board member, I'm committed to making sure that we provide continuity of education for our children, but I also represent the taxpayers of this community who've elected me as an official in this particular situation as a board member. And so I believe there is a path forward. I personally am committed to a path forward, and I just want to say that I believe that there is an ability to do that and represent the taxpayers at the same time and look out for the physical health of the district so that we don't have large increases in the future. Thank you.
Are there any other board members, comments? No? Okay. Item number 17, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry. Rewind. Sorry. Yes, sir. Yep, sorry. Ahead of myself.
With all due respect to the board and you, Chris, I spoke with you on the phone about other issues. Seemed like a perfectly nice guy. The fact remains, we had this past Monday and Tuesday scheduled to bargain. We scheduled it on October 7th. Everybody was there. Now you want to say that everyone was tired and we were stuck. Okay, go home, relax, think about it. We had the next night scheduled. There's no question about it. The bargaining team from the board said they had nothing else to give us, and they did not feel there was a reason to meet on Tuesday. So You may not have walked out of the meeting on Monday, but you did end it, but you did cancel Tuesday's meeting. And now, without as much of a phone call, email, or anything in a public forum, you tell us you want to meet tomorrow. My response was we would meet. But I think it's very rude on this board's part to do what you just did tonight, as far as offering a meeting opportunity tomorrow. I think it's rude to the people on our committee, because you obviously had it designed ahead of time. That could have very easily been stated earlier. I accept it. We will be there. But I want to be perfectly clear, and the state mediator will attest to this. You canceled Tuesday night's meeting. You canceled Tuesday night's meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Fortunato, I would just like to state when we see.
I'm about to make public comments without comments coming back to me. I don't think that's the reason for your meeting, is it? You have a meeting in public.
The only thing I'm going to say is when Mr. Healy gets here tomorrow night, you can verify with him that the phone call was placed to him close to 10:07 to see. It's not bargaining. See, this is the issue we have. Mr. Healy will be here, but he was contacted about 6:45 to see if that possibility in his calendar was clear. He came down at 7 o'clock. You were here, the offer was made. I don't think it's constructive to argue over this. Please keep in mind that we negotiated long into the evening, and you came in with a pre-typed statement relative to going on strike. That means that that was premeditated before the bargaining session was concluded. I'm not going to address it anymore, but thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Vice President. I'm not here to bargain. It was a public comment. I'm done. We said we'd be there.
Any other comments?
Is there any other comments? Anybody online?
Anyone online that has a comment, please raise your hand. We have a Mr. Rispaldo going to make comment. Go ahead and unmute your mic, state your name and address, please.
Evan Rispaldo, 41 Norma Road, Danville, Pennsylvania.
Go ahead.
I wanted to come back on and show my appreciation for this board and the amount of work that they've been putting in and standing their ground. Back on the topic of the teachers again, I feel that you have given an awful lot of opportunity to them to accept this offer. And I might just be speaking for a small majority, but I think that honestly, it's a lot for them to say no. And on a taxpayer end of it altogether, it's very much disgraceful to see that the vice president, I don't know what his role is, to be honest with you. I'm not a very knowledgeable person in all this, but it seemed very arrogant to me. It was very distasteful to witness this online, and I'm sure to a lot of people. And just once again, I'm very appreciative of you guys standing ground and doing what you are doing right now. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments?
Any other public comment, please raise your hand.
We have a gentleman too in the audience.
No other public comment online. Oh, we do then after the gentleman goes.
My name is Greg Engstadt Williams. I'm a teacher here at Danville High School. I live in Mount Pleasant Mills. I just want to say that I think it's ironic that for our students and our goals in the presentation tonight, the social emotional learning was the first thing on our goals. And yet we don't seem to put much effort or care into the social and overall health of our teachers, right? If we take this healthcare, I lose hundreds of dollars a month because of the specialist and everything else that I see. So if we truly care about our teachers and our students and the emotional and social health of the teachers, this isn't something that we can accept, right? And everyone keeps bringing up the taxpayer part of this. No one seemed to care about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were just spent on a maintenance shed, right? But for our healthcare, that seems to be too much. That's it.
Thank you. Is there someone online, Jeff?
Yes, we have Ms. Vegas. Go ahead and unmute your mic and state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Sigrid Vegas. I live in 126 Kreiner Street in Danville. Yes, I want to mention something. Just I remember our president told says the school who close, they're not gonna receive any economical help, and I really we had to take that seriously. And it's like the school can be declared bankruptcy, and it's not gonna be any funding for pay our teachers. So I think, please, we had to think it's not the right time. We need those economical support for our school. We need our teachers. The children are not in the situation to miss more classes. We need to continue with these classes. Thank you. This is all.
Thank you. Are there any others?
We have Mr. Respaldo again. Are they allowed to make another comment?
Okay.
All right, go ahead and mute your mic and state your name and address again, please.
Evan Respaldo, 41 Norma Road, Danville, Pennsylvania.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a comment back on the teacher that spoke. It's not that we don't care about the teachers, and we understand that you're losing hundreds or however much per month, per week, however the money rolls around for you. But there's literally people unemployed across this entire district that have $0, that make nothing, didn't get raises this year, aren't getting benefits right now. And you saying that we don't think you're important and we're kind of just pushing you to the side is just the wrong side of things, and all together from top to bottom. Some of us are struggling to pay for our own health insurance that is astronomical and has been rising over the past few weeks. And for you to say that we don't care about you it really just hit the spot. It really just hit the aggravation spot to hear that for once.
Okay, I'm sorry if I can't see the screen, I apologize, but if he's still speaking, can you hear me? If you do, we can't hear you.
Go ahead and unmute again.
I guess, are there any others?
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Respaldo. He's back.
Am I audible? Hello?
Mr. Respaldo?
Yes.
Yep, you're good. Go ahead and continue. Sorry about
I don't know where I cut off. Anybody, I don't know where I cut off. Did anybody hear where I last cut off?
think it ended up really hits the spot.
Oh, the aggravation point of hearing that we're not caring for the teachers is not just that. It's the fact that there's a lot in this district and a lot of taxpayers in this district that are unemployed and struggling to pay for their health insurance, and it's constantly on the rise. It just went up $160 to $300 for us, and we don't have the amount of benefits that you were just offered. There's a full range of benefits you are receiving for the bare minimum of this community, and you're complaining about it is just astonishing right now, especially in this time we are in. And that's really all I had to say. I was just really battling that argument because it's not, I care for the teachers and I have respect for the teachers and what's going on and what they gotta transform from cyber to in class to closing the school down for a week because of a COVID case. But that's just, it really showed arrogance and disrespect that we don't care about you. It's not just that, it's the fact that there's thousands of us struggling in this community, and it feel like you're focusing on you just teachers and themselves. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
Any other comments on Zoom? Please raise your hand. No more public comment.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Item 17, take 2. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.